G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/relationship advice. Now if you love me like I love you, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Posted by user ThrowRA Married OK. Titled, I, 30 female, found out my husband, 32 male, hired my friend, 26 female, to strip at his bachelor party. 4 years ago, I got married to my husband after dating for 6 years, so 10 years total now. My friend Rebecca has stripped since she was 21. She stopped last year after getting married and is going to be a stay-at-home mum when her baby is born, since our children were very close and we're basically neighbours. She lives at the bottom of the road we live on. Last week, one of my husband's friends visited at the same time as Rebecca, as I had made plans to shop with her. I forgot to cancel and she showed up. After she left, my husband's friend commented that he can't believe we're still friends after the bachelor party. I texted Rebecca in the moment that I don't want her around anymore, but she hasn't responded in a week. I feel betrayed by the both of them, but I know it was just her job. I miss Rebecca a lot, but I'm so hurt. I don't know what to do. My biggest concern is the friend's comment. I would want to know what happened. If it was me, I would ask him, her, and his friends. The fact that she hasn't responded also makes me suspect there was more. Yeah, that was 100% this friend going, girl, I noticed you didn't know, so I need to tell you this without actually telling you this. Friend did you a huge solid. I'd invite them for coffee and ask them for details. I actually don't think the comment implies anything more than he was just surprised he was still friends with what he only saw as the stripper they hired that one time. It doesn't inherently mean that something more took place, just that he thinks it's wild that he's kept in contact with his bachelor party stripper, who he doesn't realize is his actual friend. This might get buried, but I'm a professional burlesque performer. At one point, a fellow dancer asked if I wanted to perform with her at a private holiday party, and when she told me the payout, I almost crapped myself. I was pretty new at this point and didn't even know I could make this amount of money from performing. But I found out it was for a business owned by a friend of my dad's, and I bailed immediately. There are some lines you just don't cross. Losing a friend is hard no matter what, but this person was not your friend when she crossed that boundary, and she wasn't your friend when she continued to hide it from you. You can miss her and mourn the relationship you thought you had, but this is not a loss. Good luck. On the same note, the husband either requested her or it was a surprise, and he has never mentioned it and refuses to comment on it now. Frankly, I think that's disgusting treatment of his wife. If it was a surprise, he could have said something along the lines of, the bachelor party was great, but it got a bit weird because they hired X to Y, and also should have refused to let her dance for him. The fact he didn't mention it ever suggests to me he requested her, or suggests he cheated with her that night. I would personally need to know if anything else happened. Opie, talk to your ex-friend, talk to your husband's friend, anything. But yeah, the friend isn't a friend, as she hasn't even bothered to reply. She says in the comments that not only did he lie and say that there wouldn't be strippers, but that he planned the bachelor party and hired the friend himself, which to me is super dodgy, and it means they both lied to her and went behind her back to keep it from her all this time. That is really crappy. How do you start off a marriage with a major lie like that? I could see this be fine if everyone involved is consenting, but you weren't consenting, and your husband obviously knew you wouldn't be okay with this because he hid it from you. Other than the stripper being a friend, lots of marriages start with cheating at the bachelor or the bachelorette party, including full-blown sex in some cases. And of course the info comes out sometime later, and then a post is written like this. Then those marriages are screwed. Like, most marriages also have started with multiple years of monogamy. It's not like you were living up the single life the year before you got married. I never understand this last night of freedom phenomenon. Just don't do stupid crap, especially right before you get married. Update: I found out my husband hired my friend to strip at his bachelor party. I confronted them both separately. They both gave two very different stories. Rebecca says that my husband got drunk, groped her, and when she refused, he pushed her and started to yell at her. Apparently my husband and his friends believe I shouldn't be friends with her because she quote-unquote led them on. My husband says that they didn't sleep together, but Rebecca tried to initiate and performed oral while he was blackout drunk. I'm staying with my parents because I don't know who to believe here, or if I should even believe either of them. All I've done is argue with my husband since the confession. I'm left more confused than ever, and honestly, I just want to say F the both of them, but if my husband's story is true, then he's totally innocent. But what if Rebecca is telling the truth? What if neither of them are? I'm sick of them both. I haven't stopped crying since arriving at my mother's, to be honest, and I don't think I can. Why would he hide this for 4 years? Why would she? If they both believe they're fully innocent and victims here. My husband is a mean drunk, but he's always so soft-spoken, and I don't know if he can do those things Rebecca claimed. But I don't know how he reacts around his friends. But I've known him for longer than Rebecca too. But I'm all for believing women. I feel like by agreeing with my husband, I'm denying Rebecca's story and side. Hiring her in the first place is not innocent. I don't know who I would believe either, but either way, he is in the wrong for hiring her behind your back. Editing for clarity since I'm being accused of victim blaming. Being assaulted doesn't make it okay that he hired her in the first place. OP should drop both of these people. Yep, this. For another thing, her story is way more believable than his. He claims she tried to perform oral sex on him while he was drunk? Come on. Her story is not believable either, not by a long shot. What she's saying is that OP's husband forced himself on her at the bachelor party and she has never said a word about it. More than that, she lives 5 minutes from the guy and is around him all the time and she has no issue with it? Please. Do you know what tells me both are lying? In the original post, that friend recognized Rebecca had an odd reaction. You're still friends with her after that night? Paraphrasing here. So the friend was not terrified because he knew OP's husband forced himself on some poor woman, or embarrassed or uncomfortable or ashamed. He was amazed/curious. Most likely, Rebecca did something and everyone was drunk, and OP's husband responded and so on. Like, she initiated something, OP's husband went along with it, and the rest is history. You know, like typical stripper and drunk guy bachelor party interactions. Could be Rebecca put on a real show, fueled by the fact that he knew the guys, and because she wanted to show off. The fact of the matter is, we don't know. But her story is definitely not more believable than his story, because the friend didn't have that type of reaction that says, crap, it's the girl OP's husband forced himself onto at his bachelor's party. If OP wants the truth, she should ask the guys that were at the bachelor party and compare their answers. But by now, her husband might as well have set the story straight with all of them, so it's too late. The best decision would be to divorce in my honest opinion, because regardless of what happened at the party, who started what and who did what, the fact of the matter is her husband hired her best friend to be a stripper at his bachelor party, and both he and she kept it a secret. They both betrayed OP. And people who side with Rebecca because it was just a job are simply wrong, because there are some boundaries you never cross. The fact that she lives so close and still comes to their house leads me to believe it's possible more things have transpired between OP's husband and Rebecca. Yep, if something happened that made Rebecca and the husband uncomfortable, according to both of their stories, why would they still hang out with one another? If husband forced himself on her, why would she keep hanging around? If she forced herself on him while he was blacked out, why would he be okay with her coming around? Also interested to know how husband knows about what happened when he was blacked out. Is this information from his friends, or just made up? Last update, I found out my husband hired my friend to strip at his bachelor party. This will be the last update. I'd like to say thanks to everyone commenting. I realize I don't care anymore. I've done nothing but think about my husband throughout our marriage. My entire life has revolved around him. All my thoughts revolved around him, and I've finally realized I've been the only one keeping this marriage going. I've been relying on him and forgiving him for such a lot of bullcrap because I don't have anyone else. I gave him everything, and that's not happening anymore. Maybe finding out about Rebecca just sped things up. Maybe I relied too heavily on my husband. I told him this morning that it's over. He has yet to stop texting me, begging for a chance. I texted Rebecca and told her I no longer want her in my life either. Both have confessed to sleeping together and continuing to do so, my husband out of anger to insult me, and maybe Rebecca wanted a last screw you. Rebecca's baby is my husband's, so to say screw you back, I messaged her partner to let him know. I'm devastated, obviously, but now we have to make plans about what's happening with the house and custody, and I can't afford to continue crying about it. Rebecca's partner let me know at 6 p.m. that she has moved. He helped her move all of her stuff into my husband's house. It's all happened so fast, and I can't believe I was so oblivious to it. Maybe I wanted to be. Once again, thanks for all the comments and messages. It's really made me open my eyes. It's all happened so fast that I don't have time to process it all. Looks like they wanted me to find out before she gave birth. A nice happy family now. Your husband has his own house? Where do you live? Our house, but it's clearly his house now that he's moved Rebecca and his baby in there. I'm living with my parents. You didn't move out, you're only separated. The house still belongs to both of you. You must lawyer up right now. Keep telling yourself it's your house, sis. You'll get everything that's yours. I'm sorry this is happening to you, but you need to stay strong. He thinks he's won, but you need to remind yourself that it's not over till the papers are signed. You still have every right to live there, meaning you could technically go back with a crap ton of family. I don't recommend this because crap can get dangerous with him any second, but please stay strong. You deserve so much better, and I'm sure you'll find happiness and love again. You're amazing. Good for you for standing up for yourself. A few things to keep in mind. 1, that is also your house. He has no right to evict you. He cannot by law kick you out. 2, get a lawyer ASAP. Your husband will try to manipulate and guilt you into doing what he wants and believe his lies. Find a shark. 3, screenshot and record everything they say. Get proof of both of their emotional abuse to help you get custody. 4, make sure you have all of yours and your children's important documents, e.g. passports, birth certificates, social security numbers, etc. 5, freeze your credits. 6, talk to the lawyer about whether it's best to stay in the house as long as you're safe or not. In some places, by leaving, it helps your ex gain the house. 7, get a counselor to help cope with the above. You can do this. You are strong enough. However, your husband is going to be terrible through this. A therapist will help you cope and see through his abuse and lies. 8, see if the children can stay with you and keep them safe. And 9, file for child support before Rebecca can. That way, you should get more. Lawyer can help with this. Good luck, fight hard, you got this. This one doesn't have an update, but I'm going to read it anyway because I think it might have an update later. Posted by user ThrowRA What Do I Do 201. Titled, My wife, 32 female, has been having an affair and I'm broken. Now, my wife, 32, and I, 30 male, got married in September 2018 after being together for 3 years. Right before our honeymoon, we bought a house together in VA, and after we got back, pooled our remaining money and time to completely redo her old starter home in MD, and sold that in early 2019. We both work full-time jobs in Virginia, and I make pretty good money. She makes even better money. My wife, let's call her Katie, decided to pursue an MBA and started last fall. She had an educational trust that her parents started for her, and therefore didn't ask me for any financial assistance. However, because I saw how time-consuming the MBA was on top of her already large professional workload, I took it upon myself to take care of everything related to our still relatively new home, including dealing with contractors, managing all our bills, managing the house, taking care of our dog, purchasing and assembling furniture, yard work, cooking, cleaning, laundry, and hosting/entertaining her family that insisted on coming over at least 2 weekends every month. That's a lot of work. Lately, Katie has been unhappy with our relationship, complaining that I wasn't spending enough quality time with her and not making her feel wanted. I tried to argue several times that between her work and studies and my work and home responsibilities, that there simply wasn't very much time to spend together in general. We would frequently not even get to eat dinner until 9 or 10 at night, and I would either need to bring her a meal to her home office, or we would quickly eat together and she would return to schoolwork to study or percolate in group projects or a session. She would argue back that the things I was doing around the house was simply my responsibility as a husband, and that while she appreciated it, it didn't count towards me trying to maintain or build our relationship. We'd also been arguing a lot about other things, and combined with the lack of free time, would be intimate maybe once a month. I'm actually dying on the inside reading this, I'm not gonna lie. But after one particularly emotional and drunken conversation, about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, I vowed that despite what I already thought was prioritizing her needs, that I would go even further. I began to take off work. I, unlike her, still had to go in during COVID, or go in late and leave early, stopped seeing friends, skipped workouts, and would even wait until she was occupied with something else to even take a shower. All so I could spend as much available time as possible with her between her obligations. As a result, things seemed to be slightly improving between us. And now we arrive at last Wednesday. As per usual, I was making dinner for us. We have a tablet in the kitchen that I primarily use for recipes. As I was finishing up, the tablet began pinging non-stop, and I checked out what was happening. As it turns out, the tablet is linked to her Google credentials, and I first saw an ongoing Hangouts conversation between Katie and a friend, discussing what to do about someone's wife who had come to our house that day while I was at work. Scrolling through the conversation history, I found more about Katie's lack of feelings for me and the longing and dreaming to instead be with some guy who we'll call Luke. Physically shaking at this point, I decide to venture away from Hangouts and open her Gmail, where I found several emails going as far back as March between her and Luke calling each other babe, sweetheart, and my love. Unsure about what to do next, I first took screenshots of everything I could find, then stepped outside to call the only person with law experience that I knew, an executive at my company who I'd become friends with. He advised that I immediately confront her, but first call someone to come over to the house to act as a witness, in case things became physical, or if she might later try to claim they did. So I had a friend over in about 20 minutes. I confronted Katie, and she confessed to the relationship and admitted that they had been intimate several times over the past 4 months, both at hotels and in our room. Now completely distraught, I tried to maintain my composure and asked her to leave. She stayed at a hotel for 2 nights, then despite my protest, came home on Friday, stating this was her house too. She insisted on talking when she returned, and not having a witness this time, I decided to record the entire conversation on my phone. She tried to reiterate that she had been unhappy, but despite that, had been reaching out to her friends and mother about suggestions and resources she could use to help our relationship, even though I had suggested counseling in the past, but she refused. She tried to tell me that she made a mistake, that she had already broken it off with Luke a week ago, and that I was the only person she wanted to spend her life with, and the only reason she hadn't told me about it was because her friends had advised her not to. She also said that if we truly love each other, that divorce was a mistake, and that we should be able to get through anything. I replied that love is worthless without trust, and then said that if she insists on staying here, to please stay in the guest room. Obviously free usage of her home office and the guest bathroom, but to please stay out of our bedroom and bathroom unless telling me first. So now I'm here, sitting in my house alone with just my dog. Her and her aunt, uncle, and cousins are currently at our neighbor's house for a barbecue. They don't know about what she did. I can't bear to go over there because I don't want to talk to or even look at Katie, much less pretend in front of a bunch of people that nothing happened. 90% of me wants to get a divorce, but despite her feelings, I was very happy with the life we were building. We had even been talking about being pregnant by this time next year, but no matter what I decide to do, I know I don't want to make that decision without getting more information about what I can do, what might end up happening if we proceed, and I definitely want to talk to a few Virginia lawyers to protect myself. We only have one joint account with less than $20,000 in it, and the only asset we share is our house. So that's it. I'm sorry for writing so much. If you've made it this far, thank you for reading, and I would really appreciate any and all insight, suggestions, or advice. I just feel completely destroyed, empty, and alone. Please help me. Divorce, no kids, 10k average with lawyers if either of you fight, $500 disillusion, both with half assets. During my divorce to an actual Katie, who was banging a dude at her work, my therapist said, "Someday she'll just be someone you used to know." 6 years later, I can't even picture anything about her. No kids makes it so much easier. Honestly, that does make me feel a bit better. Thank you. I was married for 9 months in the military. When I decided to not re-enlist, she grew instantly distant. Within a month, she was banging one of the next-door neighbor's friends, and I pulled phone records to prove it after being suspicious. Didn't have kids with her, but she briefly was able to turn my little brother and his wife against me. They knew each other, and that's how we met, by saying I was being violent to her and her kids. Once I showed him proof that she was cheating for months, is when he realized he had been duped. I caught her cheating the next day because I told her I was going to be in the field, and walked in on them cuddling on my couch. She called the cops on me and got a protection order against me, and 2 of my buddies I stayed with recorded a phone call when she called me saying I better not file for divorce because she needs to save money to move out. Otherwise, she'd tell the cops that I was touching her daughter. We had the recording and showed my chain of command, and I've never seen a first sergeant and captain have my back harder than I've ever seen. My captain was a female, and holy crap was she awesome. Her and my first sergeant would check on me regularly, went with me to get my stuff from my house, and made sure if she tried doing anything shady, they would protect me. So luckily, my life could have been ruined by a woman who just wanted benefits, and the last time I checked, my ex-wife had 6 kids with 5 different guys. Seek a therapist and a divorce lawyer so that you can prepare yourself for the future. Maybe you'll survive, most relationships don't, but you need to be prepared either way. She needs her 1 counseling and then MC to even have a chance. Your journey from here is long and hard. You will have a good and bad days. She is going to have to seriously understand how traumatic this was for you and the serious number she did on your mental health. Thanks. My concern is that since she was blaming me to begin with, that she would make all the counseling about that and not about what she did as a result. But I'll look into it. I appreciate the advice. If she blames you for this in the therapy sessions, then I think you have your answer right there. Marriage and love isn't about being right, it's about navigating through life as one. Posted by user ThrowRA70, titled, "My girlfriend 25 female repeatedly insists that I redo my proposal over and over. I'm running out of patience. I, 24 male, proposed to my girlfriend 25 female in late 2019 after 2 years together. Admittedly, now that I think back on it, it wasn't the most well thought out or planned proposal. It was mostly spontaneous and came as we were lying in bed together, so I didn't even have a ring at the time. At the time, my girlfriend said that she would love to marry me, but she had been looking forward to a more elaborate proposal. I assured her that I'd sort something out. A month later, after shopping for the perfect ring, I set up some candles when she was coming home one day. Think the Chandler and Monica proposal in Friends, and asked her again. Well, my girlfriend loved the ring, thankfully, and teared up with happiness. She said that she really appreciated my efforts, but what she meant by elaborate was something original that she could tell our kids about one day. She mentioned the name of one of her friends whose boyfriend, we both know, proposed by making a huge video montage of their time together and putting it on a projector. I decided to start over, and in February, I planned a 3-night trip away in our favorite city. This time I spared no expense, and ordered all the extras. A 5-star hotel, a photographer, even an opera quartet. When I asked her to marry me, my girlfriend said yes, and I thought all was well. Except when we were alone again, and she gently told me that she didn't think that now was the right time, as she was so worried about her future and COVID-19 that a proposal wouldn't be a good memory for her. Oh yeah, that's reasonable, that's so reasonable. Since then, I've carried the ring around with me almost everywhere. At this point, I've even tried to involve my girlfriend in some of the proposal planning, asking where, when, how she'd like us to get engaged, and what would make her happy. However, all she's told me is that she doesn't know exactly what she's looking for, and I'll know when the right proposal comes. From my perspective, This is hugely frustrating, since in all other respects she's assured me that she wants us to begin our lives together. Last week, I thought I'd bite the bullet again, and after cooking her a homemade meal, I asked her if she'd like to be my wife. She asked me if I was trying to propose, and I asked her what's wrong with that. Once more, she told me that she can't wait to marry me, but it still wasn't quite the proposal she needed. Honestly, at this point I'm frustrated. I realize that my girlfriend might come off as pushy or high maintenance in this post, but I love her very much, and in day-to-day life she's honestly the most understanding, chill person to be around. Honestly, I don't understand why she's acting this way, and what I'm supposed to do to satisfy her with the perfect proposal at this point. I'm confused and running out of patience. How do I deal with this? Honestly, I would sit her down for a heart-to-heart and tell her that you love her, but if the proper proposal is more important than the commitment and engagement, you don't know if marriage is the right decision. Tell her you will not pressure her, but when she is ready to accept the ring, you will give it to her. Not with a fancy show, you already tried that. Just yes or no. If she says she wants a more interesting story, remind her that most people only get one, and she had 3. Or, alternatively, suggest that she proposes to you when she's ready, so that she has that perfect moment. Your other option is couples counseling, to perhaps find a reason for the issue. Is she afraid of commitment? Is the right proposal from someone else? Will she be okay with her wedding day not living up to her dreams? Honestly, something almost always goes wrong on that day. I understand to a point. My friends' and family's proposals were like Pocono's weekend in front of Cinderella's castle in Disney, yada yada yada. Mine was, we went to dinner and the Grinch movie, went back to his place to set up the Christmas tree, and he told me to close my eyes as he had a surprise. I knew it was the ring. Nope, he had hung up a bell with fake mistletoe to kiss under. Then he told me to close my eyes for another surprise, which was him holding out the ring. Was it a little completely underwhelming? Yeah. Have I hung that little bell up every Christmas and kissed him under it for the last 19 years? Also yeah. We have 21 years worth of stories. If I based my decision on his proposal, none of those stories would have existed. Updates. My girlfriend repeatedly insists that I redo my proposal over and over. I'm running out of patience. Thank you to everyone for your advice. I actually wrote this post yesterday, but it was too soon to post an update. There are a lot of people calling my girlfriend a future bridezilla, and while my post may have made her seem demanding, I'd just like to clarify that she really is my best friend and a great person. There is no chance of us breaking up. Saying that, after thinking a lot about the responses I received, I decided to sit my girlfriend down and draw a line in the sand. I told her that after 4 proposals, I'm lost and confused as to what she wants, and if she has a dream proposal in mind, she had to tell me exactly what she wants so I could make this work. My girlfriend looked somewhat nervous at that, so I pushed her to communicate properly. She apologized again for not accepting my proposals earlier, but said that in 2019 she was still testing out our relationship, and so when I asked her to marry me, she said try again, rather than yes, in the hopes that I'd wait longer. From her perspective, while she had responded positively to the idea of marriage prior to this, it had still been too soon for real engagement. I will admit that I'm not the best at reading social subtext if it's not stated directly, so I could have missed the implication when she asked for a different proposal. When I later asked her in February, she knew I was the one, but was telling the truth about being too anxious to consider marriage. She actually confessed that she's been planning on proposing to me later this year, sometime around when we were planning to fly to my home country. She had been trying to keep it a surprise, but we've now agreed that it's better that we're both on the same page when it comes to proposing. We've decided that we're both going to sit down and work together to make the proposal special for both of us. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, maybe like the video, who knows. I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying, Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.